Approvals webinar series. Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today for another webinar in our Market Access and International Approvals webinar series. My name is Yuna and I'm part of the Certification and Approvals technical staff here at Vista Compliance Laboratories. Today I'll be presenting to you the certification and approval regulations, as well as the technical requirements for electrical equipment, electronics, and wireless products and the device approval in the Asia Pacific. Vista Laboratories is an EMC and RF compliance test lab and product certification body, and we are experts in global regulatory approvals for radio frequency devices. So today we'll be going over the radio requirements for radio frequency and telecommunications approvals in Korea. In this webinar, we will provide an overview of the major topics necessary to understand to get your radio devices on the right track for authorization and distribution in Korea. If you have any question on topics presented today or any other immediate question regarding compliance testing and product certifications, you can reach us at info@vista-compliance.com. Without further ado, let's begin the presentation. We will start by going on an overview of Korea certification, KC, National Radio Research Agency, RRA, and Korean Agency for Technology and Standards, CATS. The National Unified Certification Mark, KC Mark, was launched in 2009. It is the result of integrating 10 certification marks from the Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Labor. As of January 2011, 13 certification marks from 5 departments were integrated into the KC mark. Each ministry introduced the KC mark when establishing and changing the statutory mandatory certification system. Right now, 23 departments and 8 statutory mandatory certification system use the KC mark. The letters K and C are linked together to emphasize international integration. It's important to note that the KC mark is mandatory. Since 2011, the KC mark has been unified and is the mandatory conformance mark of South Korea. 23 ministries use this mark and 8 conformity assessment systems use this mark. RRA is established in 1966. Now it is considered the hub for radio wave research in Korea. The RRA has contributed to the development of next-generation radio wave technology, research, and facilitates their efficient utilization in order to create a safe radio reutilization environment. RRA is a leader of broadcasting, communication, technical regulation, and standards. In step with the new global economic and social environment, the Korean Agency for Technology and Standard CATS focuses on increasing national economic growth and is a platform for the evolving relationship between standards, technology, and industries. CATS also seek to create more convenient and safe environments via standardization. CATS represents all the ministries in the field of standardization as national standards body of the Republic of Korea. Plays a key role in international and regional standardization organizations, such as ISO, IEC, and PASC. Agenda for RRA: Methods of Conformity Assessment, Registration of Compatibility, Certification of Conformity, Interim of Conformity, KCID, Exempt Equipment, Post-market requirements and incompatible equipment. Frequently asked questions.
Certification of conformity can be used for a party intending to manufacture, sell, or import equipment that can harm the radio environment, the broadcasting communications network, or others, as well as those whose normal operations can be affected by radio waves, can apply for the certification of conformity by attaching the related documents to the National Radio Research Agency, RRA. Registration of compatibility. A party intending to manufacture, sell, or import broadcasting or communications equipment that is not subject to certification of conformity can register the equipment by attaching the letter of confirmation that verifies the compatibility to RRA over the Internet. In terms of conformity, if there is no criteria for assessing the conformity of the broadcasting and communications equipment, or if it is difficult to assess the conformity for whatever reason, the conformity can be assessed using the standard specifications or technical criteria of Korea or other countries, and then attaching the region, period of validity, and conditions of certifications to the manufactured, sold, or imported equipment.
RRA registration of compatibility. The overview is RRA registration applies to electrical products, equipment without radio frequency or telecommunication functionality.
Registration of compatibility overview. RRA registration applies to electrical products and equipment without radio functionality or telecommunications functionality. Issuing body RRA. Examples: computing devices and peripherals, broadcasting set-top box, home entertainment systems, measuring instruments, and industrial devices, office equipment, and/or household appliances.
So, logistics. Required documents, user manual in any language containing overview, specifications, configuration, and operation information. Parts, component layout or photos, internal and external photos, EMC test report from designated lab, KC label. The lead time is 2 to 4 weeks, product dependent, and the validity does not expire. It's important that test labs are authorized and recognized by RRA, otherwise they won't be accepted. Test reports are different than the US. Standards refer to the standards such as CAS 32 or CAS 35, and voltages are different.
Registration of compatibility. Logistics. Required documents. User's manual containing overview, specifications, configuration, and operation information. Parts, component layout, or photos. Internal and external photos. EMC test report from designated labs. It is important that the test labs are authorized and recognized by RRA, otherwise they won't be accepted. Test reports are different than ones in the US. Standards refer to standards such as CAN 32 or CAN 35, and voltages are different. KC label. Lead time is about 2 to 4 weeks depending on the product. Validity does not expire. Test reports from recognized labs. Only reports issued by labs designated by the RRA can be accepted for the registration of compatibility. Other labs who are not recognized will not be able to be accepted. Be sure the lab is recognized for standards in which you are seeking approval. Testing laboratory must be designated RR test labs. Local test labs in Korea, foreign test labs recognized by RRA. Here is a sample of a designation letter. Validity. The registration of compatibility continues to be valid indefinitely should there be no changes to the product. KC permissive changes. Technical permissive change. If the change is an electrical, circuit, or functional change, additional testing is required. Non-technical permissive change. If the change is in the design or color, additional testing is not required. The registration of compatibility ceases to be valid if the product goes through modifications that are not covered by the technical permissive change procedure. Labeling requirements. The KC mark identification information must be provided. Trade name or registrant, equipment name, model number, registration number, manufacturer or country of origin, and date of manufacture. As you can see, there is a lot of information here that will be made public on the RR database, such as the name of the company, the device, the registration number, the manufacturer name, date of registration, and more important documents, so that the end user can be an informed buyer. Certification of conformity can be used for a party intending to manufacture, sell, or import equipment that can harm the radio environment, the broadcasting communications network, or others, as well as those whose normal operation can be affected by radio waves, can apply for the certification of conformity by attaching the related documents to the National Radio Research Agency, RRA. Registration of compatibility. A party intending to manufacture, sell, or import broadcasting and communication equipment that is not subject to certification of conformity can register the equipment by attaching the letter of confirmation that verifies the compatibility to RRA over the Internet. In terms of conformity, if there is no criteria for assessing the conformity of the broadcasting and communications equipment, or if it is difficult to assess the conformity for whatever reason, the conformity can be assessed using the standards, specifications, or technical criteria of Korea or other countries, and then attaching the region, period of validity, and condition of certification to the manufactured, sold, or imported equipment. Certificate of Conformity. An overview. RRA certification applies to electrical products and equipment using radio frequency or telecommunications functionality. Issuing body RRA. Examples include Bluetooth and Wi-Fi products, radio equipment, radar equipment, telephone, and modem. Logistics. Required documents, user manual in the Korean language, containing overview, specifications, configuration, and operation information, circuit design schematics, parts and components layout or photos, internal and external photos, test reports from designated labs, KC label. The lead time is about 4 to 8 weeks depending on the product. The validity does not expire. It is important to note that the requirements are different. So for approval through Certificate of Conformity, the user manual must be in the current language. Antenna specifications or radiation patterns may be requested. The requirements aren't necessarily more strict, but might require more documents or longer wait time. Testing laboratory must be designated RRA test lab, local test lab in South Korea, or foreign test labs recognized by RRA. Usually, local testing in South Korea is much more time intensive. It is better to plan ahead and see which lab is closest to your factory. When selecting a lab, it is important to ensure that they are recognized and approved by RRA, but also to make sure that they are recognized for the standards that are needed in the test reports. Testing scope. Scope designated by RRA contains the standards listed in the report. Please ensure that the scope designated by the RRA for the test lab has the standards listed on the test report and that they are recognized for their standards that you will need for your specific device. Validity. The Certificate of Conformity continues to be valid indefinitely should there be no changes to the product. KC permissive changes. Technical permissive change. If the change is an electrical, circuit, or a functional change, additional testing is required. Non-technical permissive change. If the change is in the design or color or information, additional testing is not required. The Certificate of Conformity ceases to be valid if the product goes through modifications that are not covered by the Technical Permissive Change procedure. Labeling requirements. The KC mark. The following certification information must be provided. Trade name or registrant, equipment name, model number, registration number, manufacturer or country of origin, and the date of manufacture. Certificate of Conformity. This information will be publicly accessible. On the left, you have the Certificate of Conformity, and on the right, you have the Registration of Compatibility. They look quite similar, the difference being that you have the certification number instead of the date of registration. Methods of Conformity Assessment. We have already gone over the Certification of Conformity and the Registration of Compatibility. Now, let's look into the Interim of Conformity. This is when a device does not seem to fall under the current standards. Interim of Conformity. Overview. RRA Interim of Conformity applies to electrical products and equipment if there is no criteria for assessing the conformity of the broadcasting and communications equipment, or if it is difficult to assess the conformity. Issuing body, RRA. Examples: newly developed equipment with no conformity assessment criteria defined yet. Logistics. Required documents, user manual in the Korean language, containing overview, specifications, configurations, and operation information. Circuit design schematics, parts and components layout or photos, internal and external photos, detailed specifications. Lead time up to 6 months. Does not depend on product. Validity does not expire. So now that we have gone over the 3 RRA procedures, hopefully this has been very interesting and has given you necessary information to help you get started on getting approval for your devices. Let's briefly touch on the KCID. The format, there is 4 sections. The first part is the R. This stands for the National Radio Security Agency. Next, we will move on to the next part. It can be either a C, R, or I. The C stands for Certification of Conformity, the R stands for Registration of Compatibility, and I stands for Interim of Conformity. S is only used for same equipment. The definition of same equipment is the equipment type, model name, manufacturer, manufacturing country, electric circuit, components, construction, function, external enclosures, and so on are the same as previously approved equipment. Testing is not required for same equipment. This method was updated and used to have more boxes, but now has been simplified. Moving on to the third box, this is the company code. This must be obtained from the RRA and is similar to the process of obtaining an FRN or guarantee code from the FCC. You will get a unique 3-digit code. Lastly, a product code that contains less than or equal to 14 characters. For simplicity, you can use the model number. Now that we've gone over KCID, let's move on to exempt equipment. The following types of equipment are exempt from RRA approval. Equipment for the purpose of technology development or test research as part of a product or a broadcasting communications service. 2. Equipment used for non-selling purposes such as those for exhibition or international competitions. 3. Equipment imported by foreign technology personnel for use in a domestic industry and which is to be returned abroad after a fixed period of use. 4. Equipment or component imported or manufactured for the purpose of maintenance or repair of equipment that is to undergo conformity assessment, equipment imported or manufactured for military purposes. 5. Equipment imported and manufactured for use abroad and not for use in Korea. 6. Equipment imported for installing on custom-built ships for delivery to overseas customers and equipment installed on ships or aircraft, purchased, leased, or chartered from overseas, or replacement equipment of the same type. 7. Equipment imported for private use and not for sale. 8. Equipment that has undergone conformity assessment through international mutual recognition arrangement or similar type of agreement. 9. Amateur wireless equipment built, assembled, or imported for personal use and not for sale. 10. Sample equipment imported for domestic market research purposes and not for sale. 11. Computer built with internal components that have undergone conformity assessments. 12. Equipment manufactured domestically for exports to overseas markets. 7. Equipment brought into Korea for the purpose of re-exporting to overseas markets. 14. Equipment exported overseas but brought into Korea for repairs on the condition that they are to be shipped out. The quantity is involved for a couple of these examples, such as number 7, equipment imported for private use and not for sale, you are only allowed 1. Also for number 8, equipment that has undergone conformity assessments through international mutual recognition arrangements or similar types of agreement. This is equipment that has undergone conformity assessments, so the number is unlimited, so it is considered quantity exempt. Number 11, computer built with internal components that have undergone conformity assessments, same as number 8, quantity exempt. Also number 2 is quantity exempt. Here are the post-market responsibilities of the applicant after an approval has been obtained. Requirements: KC label, whether or not the product has been changed. Incompatible equipment. The RA conducts annual surveillance of 3% of the electrical and electronic products distributed in the Korean market. If the product fails the screening, it must be collected and disposed of. Fines of up to 30,000 USD or imprisonment for up to 3 years for incompatible equipment. All findings of incompatible equipment are listed on the RRA website with complete reports of the reasons and evidence for nonconformity. Period of time for the implementation of corrective actions is provided. All of this will be searchable on the database and made public. Here are some frequently asked questions. What products are exempt from conformity assessments? Equipment performing simple computations or portable computers to be used for the measurement, digital scales, digital hygrometer, digital thermometer, a digital blood glucose meter, a digital multimeter, or in a similar device, USB or batteries, including battery power, speakers, electronic clocks with only simple clock functions using USB or battery power, remote control devices with infrared communications methods such as a TV remote control, camera lenses, cables, cable connectors, cable accessories, toys that do not use electrical motors and makes light or sound, only temporary batteries, including rechargeable batteries. Are CF and SD cards used in digital cameras, mobile phones, etc., subject to conformity assessments? No, because they do not satisfy the conditions of the active circuit or digital device inside. For reference, a digital device has a built-in circuit that generates a timing signal or pulse of 9 kHz or higher. Is the iPhone lighting cable subject to conformity assessments? Cables, cable connectors, and cable accessories are subject to conformity assessments exclusion. Therefore, an iPhone cable is not subject to conformity assessments. This product is imported to test defective products in the production line. Is it subject to conformity assessments? Yes. Test and measuring equipment and industrial equipment are subject to conformity assessments. Korean Agency of Technology and Standards, CATS, Safety. CATS was established in 1883. CATS supports technology and regulations developments for many different product types to ensure the product's safety. KC safety approvals are issued by certification bodies and not directly by CATS. Methods of conformity assessments. There are three: safety certification, safety confirmation, and supplier's declaration of conformity. After we go over those, we will touch on labeling before going over a summary. Let's look at the overview of the methods of conformity. First, we have safety certification. This is for high-risk products. Then we have safety of confirmation. These are medium-risk products. And lastly, we have safety self-declaration of conformity. These are for low-risk products. Safety certification overview. Safety certification applies to products with a high safety risk. Issuing body: CAS Accredited Certification Body KTC, KTL, KTR on behalf of CATS. Examples include power supplies units, information technology equipment, industrial devices, office equipment, household supplies, and lighting. Logistics. Required documents. User manual in the Korean language containing overview, specifications, configurations, and operation information. Critical component list. Parts and component layout or photos. Internal and external photos. Installation and material certification. Enclosures, PCB, etc. CB report. KC label. 1 to 2 samples. Lead time is about 7 to 8 weeks. Validity does not expire. CB reports are important. CB report and certificates are recognized. With a CB report, only some testing is required. In this case, the testing labs must be COLAS accredited or within the designated Korean Laboratory Accreditation Scheme. Now that we have looked at safety certification, let's move on to safety confirmation. Safety confirmation overview. Safety confirmation applies to products with a medium safety risk. Issuing body: CAS Accredited Certification Body KTC, KTL, KTR on behalf of CATS. Examples will include monitors, printers, projectors, audio and video equipment, and switches for appliances. Logistics. Required documents. User manual in the Korean language containing overview, specifications, configurations, and operation information. Critical component list, part and component layout or photos, internal and external photos, installation, material certificate, enclosures, PCB, etc. CB report, KC label, 1 to 2 samples. Lead time is about 5 to 7 weeks depending on the product. Validity varies based on the product. So again, the CB report here will be leveraged, but may require additional testing. The difference between the safety confirmation versus the safety certification does not require factory inspections, so you will be saving a lot of time and effort. Now that we've gone over safety certification for high-risk products and safety confirmation for medium-risk products, let's review safety suppliers' self-declaration of conformity for low-risk products. Safety suppliers' declaration of conformity, or SDOC overview. Safety certification applies to products with a low safety risk. Issuing body: CAS Accredited Certification Body KTC, KTL, KTR on behalf of CATS. Examples will include digital products, cameras, entertainment systems, and gaming consoles. Logistics. Required documents. User manual in any language containing overview, specifications, configurations, and operation information. Critical components list, parts, component layout or photos, CB report, KC label. Lead time about 2 to 3 weeks depending on the product. Validity varies based on product type. This scheme is similar to safety confirmation and does not require factory inspection. In this case, there is no in-country testing required. For the methods of conformity assessments, we have just gone over safety certification for high-risk products, safety confirmation for medium-risk products, and safety SDOC for low-risk products. Labeling requirements, the KC mark. The following certification information must be provided: registration number, trade name, equipment name, model number, manufacturer or country of origin, importer, service center telephone number, and date of manufacturer.
Now let's summarize the key points. For safety certification, factory inspection is required, in-country testing is required, and certification issued by local Korean certification body is required. For safety confirmation, factory inspection is not required, in-country testing is required, certificate issued by local Korean certification body is required. For safety SDOC, factory inspection is not required, in-country testing is not required, and certification issued by local Korean certification body is not required. This concludes our webinar of the Korean Market Access, Certifications, and Approvals for Electrical Equipment and Wireless Products. I hope this webinar was helpful for you in understanding the process for approval and certifications, as well as what requirements are applicable to your products. Vista Compliance Labs specialize in certifications, approvals, and compliance testing for electrical and radio frequency devices. We are a 17025 accredited EMC and RF compliance test lab and a 17065 accredited product certification body. We are a telecommunications certification body in the US, Canada, EU, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Japan, and we provide certification and approvals for all product type in countries all over the world. If you'd like to stay in touch with regular updates, follow us online. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions on the information presented today, or any general inquiries, you can reach us anytime at info@vista-compliance.com. Thank you for your time and have a wonderful day.